We didn't have a clue what we were doing when we started. I mean, the night before we opened, we suddenly realised we hadn't got a menu printed up. We knew what we were selling, but we hadn't put it on a card, and we hadn't priced it up.
Menu. Might be a good idea.
So we rapidly did that and just got them done in time for the door to open.
And the first night, I remember very clearly the first night when we'd finished and I did my till receipt, because I'd read the manual, that's what you did. I took it upstairs at about 6 o'clock, and at 11 o'clock I sat with all the money around crying, saying, I don't know how to do this, Now I can do it on the back of an envelope in probably 2.5 minutes.
Welcome to the Be The Boss podcast. I'm your host, Joe Bruce, and this is the podcast where my guest and I bring to you the very best success stories, guidance, tips and tricks to help you get your business off the ground and getting results. So if you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, or you'd like to be, then this is the place for you. Now, this is a very special episode because this is an interview from a couple of years ago with my parents, Sara and David. I actually recorded this with the topic of career change in mind, but this is truly a Be The Boss success story. It's the story of how my parents quit their jobs, moved across the country, and changed their lives by starting their own business together. So without further ado, let's get into it. Today I'm delighted to be here sitting in Pots and Pieces tea shop with my parents, Sara and David.
Hello.
Hello.
And today we're going to do a short interview to hear about the career change that my parents made. So 10 years ago, they made the transitions from their jobs previously into taking on this tea shop and transforming it into what it is today that you can see around you, which is an amazing tea shop. First of all, can I hear a little bit about your previous roles, what it was that you were doing and how that was working out for you?
Well, I was a teacher. I've been a teacher for about 20 years, with a bit of a career break when I had you and your brother. And I'd branched into special needs, and I was enjoying it, and I'd done it for quite a while. And it was good and it was very rewarding.
Okay.
And I was liking it.
What were the best things about it?
Best things about it, I think, was changing children's lives.
Okay.
And I loved interacting with the parents and with the other staff and being part of a team.
And were there some struggles that came with that as well?
There were struggles. I think in education, as it moves on, it gets more and more difficult. And I think really it needs younger people in the profession. So I felt I was coming to the end of my sell-by date,
ready to move on.
Ready to move on and have maybe a new challenge.
Okay, great. And what about you, Dad?
I was in the music industry. I kind of drifted into that when I was in my early 20s. Originally I was in advertising in the design studio, and I had moved across. I'd found a contact who worked in the record company. It was a small independent label, and they needed somebody to do their design work. And I joined them on the basis that I was going to be designing album covers, 12-inch album covers back in the day, their advertising, the brochures for the record club, anything that was creative, basically. But the label was growing so rapidly at the time, I got sucked into the office and was helping them on all different fronts. The second week I was there, I was out driving an artist round as a tour manager.
Okay.
Just me and the artist and going all over the UK. And it was just all hands to the pump. So actually I never ever got to do any practical design work after that point.
Which is what you signed up for.
Which is what I signed up for. But I did at later stages, as my role in the company developed, I was able to put my design background to use in helping create album covers and shape the look of marketing.
Okay. And then at the sort of the end of your stint there, what was your major role?
Well, I became A&R director ultimately, and that's really like a Simon Cowell, but not as high powered as that. And your responsibility is to go find new talent, sign them, and see the recording process through to the finished album and packaging, and hand it over to the marketing team and the production team to put it out.
Yeah. And were there stresses that came with that, or struggles? Or?
There were struggles. I mean, I would never claim to be any good at numbers and contracts and that sort of thing. So I had to learn some new skills, more particularly in the contracts area. And I relied very heavily on a couple of other people when it came down to the number crunching. But I loved the whole creative process of it, and working with people and, you know, seeing their dream become fulfilled through an album.
So that was over 10 years ago then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And now, tell me about your current occupation as tea shop owners.
Well, we bought this place 10 years ago, actually, last weekend. Yes.
Okay.
So it's a bit of a milestone.
It was my 50th birthday present.
All our other friends were getting sports cars, and she said, "Why have you brought me to this dump?" Because we had to do 3 months of renovation on the place.
I remember.
It was hardly livable in.
And so you got a dump, and all your friends got sports cars. But it's been great, really good.
Yeah, fantastic. I do remember the first day that we came down, cleaning, scrubbing out cupboards and
I think
sleeping,
I cried
sleeping
all
bags
day and said, "What have we done? No, what have we done?"
A cold winter's day, shortly before I moved to Dubai.
And it was so bad, the environmental agency walked in 2 weeks after we opened, and it was a guy with a clipboard. I'll never forget his face. And he looked around and he went, "Are you new owners?" And I said, "Yes, we opened 2 weeks ago." He said, "Well, that's good, because I'd come to close it down." And he had 3 foolscap sheets of typed instructions of what the previous owners had been told to sort out. And they decided to quit and run and sell it to us. And we had sorted it all out. We got 5 stars and have held our 5 stars ever since.
So what are the best things about running the tea shop?
It's been great fun. I think the thing that we've enjoyed the most is the relationships we've made with the staff. We've got a great team of staff, and they evolve and change all the time. We have we employ girls at the age of 15, and we see them right the way through to the end of senior school, and they go off to uni, but they come back in the holidays and work for us in the summer holidays, winter holidays, and then they go off and get full-time work.
Yeah.
But we have still got friends that we made who are now, you know, working. We got a friend, you know, one is a radiologist, one's a teacher. They've all gone off and done different careers, but they all treasure the time they had with us here at the tea shop.
It was nice, particularly for me, because I obviously had you and your brother, so I had no girls. And now, all of a sudden, I've got lots and lots of daughters, all grown up, and I don't have to pay for them to grow up, which is the best.
And in addition to that, we've got older ladies who help us during the week, in the weekdays.
Who have become real friends.
They're real friends too. It's been brilliant.
And you said when you were teaching as well that one of the things you loved about the work that you were doing was
the teamwork. I've enjoyed making new teams and keeping them together and seeing how they interact with each other and how the older ones look after the younger ones, and we try and hold it all together, and we do feel like a family. Yeah. It's a family that keeps changing as staff change, but all the girls call it the Potts family, so
they do.
It's what we are.
The other thing that we've enjoyed is the customers too. I mean, you obviously get exceptions to every rule, but the majority are really nice, and it's a real buzz that you get when they come in, often tired and grumpy. They've been stuck in traffic jams for a couple of hours, and they come here to chill out, have a coffee, have something to, you know, like lunch or some of Sarah's lovely cake. And to see them going out with a smile on their face, having had a nice experience, and then see the TripAdvisor coming in saying what a brilliant place it is. And also the response when we're selling them the giftware, because we sell giftware as well as the tea shop side, to see the response we get from them buying something that they'll treasure.
The men don't often want to hang around while the wife looks at things. They often say, oh dear, I think the car park ticket's running out. Dear, shouldn't we be going?
That's great. And what are some of the struggles then? Some of the things that are tricky about running the tea shop?
I think the main struggle for us has been the fact that I've taken over making all of the cakes, the soups, the quiche, which has meant that it's become more of a tie than we perhaps would have liked.
Okay.
So to go away, to come and see you in Dubai, which we have managed to do for 8 years on the trot, it's very difficult to get away.
Yeah.
So I think if I was going to do anything different, I would probably have restructured it and not made me the main provider of the food.
Yeah.
But you never know.
Yeah, you're both pretty pretty important to the running of the.
What you really mean, Joe, is that we're both control freaks.
Absolutely control freaks.
We are control freaks. So it's only me that makes the cake. But I think we probably have learned a lesson in that now, and I'm sure everyone else I do have staff that can do bits, but I haven't delegated it perhaps enough.
Yeah. So a few years ago, we looked at your personality types, and we established that we've got one for anyone that knows the Myers-Briggs. We've got one ISFJ,
I think so.
and one ISTJ. So two introverted types that like to be very much in control of the details of how things are planned and executed.
Excel sheets.
So lots of Excel sheets and lots of tight control over what's going on. So would you say that those personality preferences have helped you in running the tea shop?
I think they've helped run it successfully.
Yeah.
There are things we could have let go of, and we do obviously have some time off. And there are things when we come back that they haven't been done quite as we would have done them, but they've done the job and they fulfilled the brief, so we can't really complain.
And you do have to be organised. If you're not organised, staff don't turn up, things don't get made, and orders don't get placed.
Yes,
so you do have to be.
It's a very tightly run ship. In the Potts family, but from what I've seen is the balance of that sort of rigid organisation and meticulous planning to make sure that there's cakes in the window every day and to make sure that there's giftware on the shelves, as you see. The balance to that is the human personalities that you bring to the staff and to the customers. And so that is a real challenge. What are the things then that you've had to learn along the way? Things that you didn't have when you made the transition?
We didn't have a clue what we were doing when we started. I mean, the night before we opened, we suddenly realised we hadn't got a menu printed up. We knew what we were selling, but we hadn't put it on a card, and we hadn't priced it up.
Menu. Might be a good idea.
So we rapidly did that and just got them done in time for the door to open.
And the first night, I remember very clearly the first night when we'd finished, and I did my till receipt, because I'd read the manual, that's what you did. I took it upstairs at about 6 o'clock, and at 11 o'clock I sat with all the money around crying, saying, I don't know how to do it, I don't know money. Now I can do it on the back of an envelope in probably 2.5 minutes.
So I mean, it was everything really, wasn't it? From learning to make a cappuccino to
complete new set of skills, which some were taught. I mean, we had great guidance on how to make all the different drinks.
I could make a Victoria sponge.
Yeah.
I can now.
Very good trifle.
Make a good trifle. Don't do trifle for the shop, Joe.
And it was silly things that I worried about, like how do we take orders and not get all the tickets mixed up? I mean, that sounds like a very straightforward thing, and it is. But until you've done it, it's a very straightforward process. But it was something that I really worried about.
Yeah.
Missing a table, or people coming and going all the time. But actually, it works like clockwork.
This is the inner workings of the ISTJ.
We devise a system. You don't know how it works, devise a system, stick by it, get everyone to stick by it, and it works.
Absolutely. So you brought in some skills that you already had, spreadsheets, the maintenance of the day-to-day operations.
And team building with the staff.
And team building, and some of the education as well that you brought in for the,
yes.
for the staff.
We had Word of the Week when we first started. What does amalgamate mean?
Exactly. And some of the creative side, you've managed to bring that in as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just in the displays and the window displays and the look of the place, and in the website design and various posts we put up.
Yeah. So really, although we talk about moving from teaching and the record industry coming into managing a tea shop, the skills that come from those two industries, although you wouldn't immediately tie them in, have come in very useful in order to make this successful.
Yeah, you take your skills with you and apply them in a new situation.
And I think that probably makes your tea shop stand out above other tea shops that I've been in that don't have that nice, cosy feel, the artistic approach to the displays, or the the meticulous running. There's always things missing, or there's those skills really make it what it is.
And the other thing that we encourage the staff to do, and we always lead by example, is give the customer a warm and friendly welcome, because that actually it's free, and it goes an awful long way. In fact, on our TripAdvisor reviews that we get, I would think probably 90% of them mention the fact they got a warm welcome when they came in, and that we were friendly and chatty with them. Not overboard, but you make a connection.
Yeah. So actually, it's one of the simplest things to do is something that probably comes naturally anyway.
Yeah.
But it's not actually something that was very technical that you had to learn. You just it's one of those things that's made a big
cost
impact.
Anything.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the transition then. So you were in your job. So why did you decide? What made you start thinking about changing careers?
Well, for me, I had become very stale. And I had been around a creative loop, because with a record company you tend to have a batch of artists for sort of 5 to 7 years, depending on how successful they are, and you're always on the lookout for new ones. So you have other artists move off to other labels, and you get new artists coming in. So I kind of looked at it as going around this creative circle, and I'd been around it about 4 or 5 times. And I just got to the point where I couldn't face going through all that again. I felt that I had given all that I could give in creativity in that area of my life. And I think I just felt that I was being drained, and I didn't have that much more to give. And it had the effect on me that I became really, really tired. I wasn't enjoying the job. In fact, at lunchtime, I would just grab my sandwich and go and drive my car out to a little park area in Milton Keynes, put my chair back and sleep in the middle of the day. I mean, I'd never think of doing that now. Yeah. I just lost all my energy, and I just felt I need to get out of this. I need to have new challenges. And Sarah knew that I was going through that.
It was quite miserable coming home.
It was at a point in our lives where your brother had left, you were about to go off to Dubai, or go somewhere, we didn't know it was Dubai at the time. Yeah. And
we just needed a change.
Yeah.
We do get bored very easily, as you know, Joe.
Yeah.
So we needed a new challenge and a new adventure, really.
Okay.
And it kind of started about 2 years prior to that, because we were driving back from Sarah's brother, and we got stuck in traffic on the motorway, and we sat and chatted, and we had that weekend bought a little nice light for the lounge from a nice gift shop in Bridgnorth. And we were quite pleased with the purchase, and we always tried to buy something for the home when we went anywhere, when we went to Prague or Paris or wherever it was, something that was a bit unique and a bit different. And all our friends used to say, "That's lovely, where'd you get that from?" So we thought, what a great idea, why don't we source these sorts of products, buy them at trade and sell them. And so we set up an internet business. We racked out the garage, we couldn't get the car in there, we racked from top to bottom, 3 rows, and stored all the giftware in the garage, and we were selling it online while Sarah was teaching and while I was in the record company.
It didn't give me that same buzz though, because I think I need the people interaction.
Yeah.
And it was just a name came through, parcel it up, take it to the post box. Quite often it got broken, and there wasn't quite that buzz that I needed that went with selling.
So it was sort of the start of exploring different ideas, and then you've obviously taken that into the idea of the tea shop. But the tea shop's very different. So how did you go from parceling and distributing gifts to having a tea shop?
Well, we were sitting having lunch with some friends, and they said to us, "You're selling all this giftware. Why don't you just buy a freehold property on a high street, sacrifice your lovely garden, live upstairs if that's all you can afford, and have a shop that sells giftware?" And we thought, that's a good idea. But we thought maybe just have a couple of tables with maybe a piece of cake,
So a
a
gallery
cup of tea.
more of a gallery serving tea
Yes.
The other way around.
than
Yeah.
a tea shop with gifts.
Yes.
Yeah.
I envisaged sitting in a nice little chair with a book and a fire and, oh yes.
How's that worked out for you?
No, it didn't work out like that. But things don't always work out the way you envisage them.
Absolutely.
You have a plan, you have an end goal, and I think sometimes you have to be prepared to take a bit of a detour.
Yeah, you've got to be flexible.
Yeah.
And the sort of products that we were selling when we first opened were very bespoke pieces.
High end.
Yeah, individually handmade products. And we quickly realised that the market was going to be more in need of cheaper giftware.
Partly because the recession hit.
And the recession, we started the weekend the recession hit in 2008. And we adapted what we were buying. Mm-hmm. We still have some high-end things that we sell, lamps that are £300 and log rings, beautiful steel log rings, which are, best part of 300. And we sell those from time to time. That makes the day go with the swing. But the bulk of it is smaller items, £10, £15.
And lots of cake.
And loads of cake.
Lots of cake. And I think one of the things that I find interesting from that is, and something I've spoken about in another video, is that if you want to make a career transition, it's not necessarily going to come to you in the middle of the night, the finished idea of what you want to be doing. And that process that you went through of starting to sell giftware, recognising that you needed to change, didn't really know where you wanted to go, but just exploring those options and kind of just following the things that felt right and moving away. You were uncomfortable having no connection with people, so you brought that in and evolving and responding to what was going on, and that's really led you to where you are.
Absolutely. And our friends all thought we were completely barking mad.
Okay.
Firstly, that we put our lovely house up for sale, and that we were moving away from that area where we had all our friends. I mean, it was a huge uprooting, but the overbearing need for a change was there. We had to do something, otherwise we just would have gone completely stark staring mad, I think.
And we had to move far away because we couldn't afford to do what we wanted to do in the area we were living in. Yeah,
we looked at properties. It was hard to find a freehold retail property with accommodation that had enough space for us. But we finished up in a lovely town, Ross-On-Wye, where There's a lot of tourists come through here, and it's been great.
We love it.
So really over that transition period, then there was a lot of people sort of questioning your decisions, and there was a lot of challenges in finding the right move.
Yes.
So what was the kind of the mindset that, or the kind of approach or thoughts that helped you through that difficult transition?
I think you and Sam were a great help, because you encouraged us and you said, no, it's a great idea, go for it. Why don't you go for it?
This was before I was the path boss.
Before you were the path boss.
I think you could see that probably I was not enjoying my work, and that there was an element of frustration there. And people locally, a lot of our friends were very supportive too. They told us that it was, it's a long shot, but give it a try. You never know unless you try.
Customers outside.
We have lots of friends.
As well as sort of some key people in your network that did support you through that, were there any mindsets that kind of really helped you overcome those challenges?
I think just determination.
Yeah.
We knew we had to make it a success. We'd done a budget of what we needed to turn over in a day, and we found very quickly that we were doubling what we'd anticipated. And now we've increased that, and the business just grew and grew and grew each year. And we were still trading in the recession. We've always traded in recession. It got a little bit easier, and each year got better. And then we started to take control of elements of the business that were more profitable, like Sarah making the cakes and the quiche and the soup. And our profits went through the roof, because we had mastered all the other elements. So now it was time to really get serious about it. Yeah.
And I think I needed to feel like I had a team around me, and I needed to kind of have control over a team. Like previous heads that I'd had, I'd seen how they got staff all working together. Yeah. So I kept thinking, what would she have done? She would have done it like that. And oh my goodness, that works here as well as in school. So I think for me that was a big part.
Yeah. On the flip side, you need to be aware that there will be people that tell you it won't work.
Yeah.
We were decorating the shop internally once we'd had the main structural work sorted out, and two of the locals, traders here, stuck their head round the partly open door and said, what are you going to be then? And we said, we're a tea shop and gift shop. They said, we'll give you 6 months. Really encouraging.
Of course I went, oh no, we're only going to be here for 6 months.
They've subsequently eaten humble pie, and we're doing a lot better than possibly they thought we might have done. And there was another lady who said, it'll take you years to become a part of this community.
Years.
20 years at least. And within 2 years of that, she was apologising and saying, I take back what I said. You've become part of this community. In fact, you're at the heart of this community, because a lot of people come here to meet with friends, and it's a gathering point.
Yeah. And for some people, it's the one place that they come, that they see someone. Some people don't see anybody all day. And I try and sit with them if I can and talk to them, and I think they enjoy that.
I mean, sometimes it's quite nice to get a little bit of sort of negativity that you can work against, and know that's something that you don't want to happen, and you can work harder to be part of the community and to make sure that it's a success.
Yeah, you just think we'll prove them wrong.
But there will always be people that are fearful of change.
Absolutely.
Even in my last video that I made, I was talking about people that are fearful, and their fear they will project onto you and tell you that you can't do something.
Yeah.
Whether it's no, you can't leave, or once you've already left, it's well, you'll never be successful doing this. Yeah. But if you're prepared to adapt, if you're prepared to work hard, and if you can get the right team around you, and if you can be meticulous and put in all the work, because you have put in hours and hours to make sure that this works.
But if you're doing something that you really enjoy doing, and that you're actually getting benefit from, and we love being our own bosses. We love it if it's really quiet, that we can say, you know what, shall we shut early today? Let's shut early today. It's no point being open. Whereas other people in the town, they say, oh, we're not allowed to shut till 5:30. So that's something else that we really enjoy, isn't it?
Yeah. Be in charge of your own destiny.
And I think those people that are negative, it maybe encourages them. They maybe think, oh, well, actually, it did work. Actually, I might try that.
Yeah.
So it kind of spreads like a pebble in a pond.
No, it ripples across a pond.
A ripple across a pond.
So let's kind of wrap this up then with what's one question? What's the one biggest lesson that you've each learned from this experience, from going from where you were 10 years ago in your old jobs to running a very successful tea shop? What's the one biggest lesson?
For me, I think, is if you set your mind to something and you're determined, you can make anything happen.
You work hard.
You work hard.
And you have worked hard.
We have.
And for you?
For me, I think the biggest thing I've learned is not to be frightened about going into a new area. That you can learn new things. You can learn things by finding someone that knows about it, like a VAT return.
Yeah.
And you can find how to do new skills, not to be worried and go for it.
So in combination then, it doesn't matter what you're going to do. If you're prepared to work hard and you're prepared to put in the effort to learn from people and from learn different new things, then you can make a success from it.
Absolutely.
At the time.
Yeah.
Okay. And then thank you so much. So what's next for Sara and David and Pots and Pieces?
Well, we always came into this planning to do 10 years, and we've done our 10 years. So we're actually on the market. So if there's anybody out there looking to buy a very successful tea shop,
You'd love it.
we are up for sale. So contact Path Boss and he'll put you in touch with us. And we'll give you all the training you need.
Okay, fantastic.
Or if there's anyone who is setting up a similar establishment and would like any help that we might be able to give them, please feel free to
Absolutely.
contact us through Joe.
There you go.
Through the Path Boss.
It's a nice offer for anyone that's looking to set up a tea shop. Okay, so thank you so much. I also want to say big thank you to you, the career change that you have made. I know you said that I encouraged you, but really that seeing you do that has inspired me to make my latest career change and so many things throughout the last 10 years and obviously beyond that as well. So thank you so much for that. It's been a pleasure speaking to you and hearing the stories. And yeah, so thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Be The Boss podcast. I hope you really enjoyed it, and if you did, then please don't forget to leave a like or share it with someone that you think would find it useful. Also, if you have any questions, suggestions, or anything that you'd like me to cover in future episodes, then please do drop a comment or send me a message so that I can do that for you. Thank you so much, and I will be with you in the next episode.